Welcome everyone to Truth and Freedom Podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Dan Amslang. Now today we begin a powerful and eye-opening series called The Lies We're Told. Now for way too long, we've allowed the headlines, loud voices, and carefully crafted narrative to shape how we see the world. But what if much of what we've accepted as truth is actually built on exaggeration, manipulation, and division? This is about conspiracies here. This is about awareness. It's about learning to think critically, trust your intuition, and reclaim the most important territory you'll ever known, which is your mind. Now, over the next several segments, we'll break down the most common lies that shape our daily lives, how they work, and most importantly, how to free yourself from their grip. So take a deep breath, open your mind, and let's begin the journey toward truth together. First, the lies of exaggerated narratives. What we see isn't always what's real. Now, we all live in a world where the loudest story gets the most attentions, not necessarily the most truthful one. The media often magnifies rare incidents and turn them into daily fears. One crime becomes a crime wave. One crisis becomes a national collapse. When all you hear are extremes, your brain starts believing that the whole truth. This constant exposure rewires how we perceive reality. It builds fear, mistrust, and division. But here's the truth. Most of what's happening in our daily lives is far more balanced than the headlines suggest. We must learn to pause, to step back, and to seek context beyond the noise. Number two, the lies of manufactured urgency. Everything is urgent, but is it really? Now, headlines love panic. Breaking news, red banners, notification buzzing. It's designed to trigger your nervous system and keep you glued to the screen. But real emergencies are rare. Most urgent stories are amplified to make you react, not reflect. And in that state of constant panic, we stop thinking critically. We act impulsively. We let someone else control our emotional tempo. Taking back your peace means refusing to live in a state of false emergency. Not every alert deserves your heart rate. Not every headline deserves your energy. Number three, the lie of the simple enemy. Black and white is easier than the truth. Complex issues, politics, health, social movement, etc., are often packaged into simplistic stories. This side is good, and that side is evil. It's an emotional shortcut that stops us from asking deeper questions. Real life isn't that simple. Truth lives in the gray zone, in nuances, in uncomfortable conversation. When we accept easy answers, we give away our power to question. Awakening begins when we reject convenient narratives and search for the whole story, not just the one that's easiest to digest. Number four, the lie of repetition. If you hear it enough, it feels true. Now, this is one of the most dangerous forms of manipulation. Say something enough times, on social media, on the news, in conversation, and people begin to accept it as a fact. It's how myths are born and how division grows. Repetition isn't proof. Just because something echoed loudly doesn't make it real. Your job as a critical thinker isn't to count how many people say it, it's to ask, where's the evidence? When you anchor yourself to truth, repetition loses its power over you. Number five, the lie of distorted data. Numbers don't lie, but people using them might. Now, statistics are powerful tools, don't get me wrong, but when taken out of context, they can be turned into a weapon of persuasion. A small risk can be made to sound catastrophic. A partial truth can look like certainty. And a manipulated chart can make a fiction appear factual. Now, we must learn to question not only the numbers, but how they're presented. Ask yourself, who collected this data? How was it framed? What's missing here? Numbers can enlighten or deceive, depending on who holds the pen. Number six, the lie of false authority. Now, an expert said it, so it must be true. Yeah, right. Now, this is where manipulation becomes subtle. People trust titles, credentials, and insider labels. But not everyone who claims authority speaks from integrity. Some have agendas, others are simply misinformed themselves. True wisdom is humble. It invites question. It doesn't silence them. Being awake means respecting expertise but never worshiping it blindly. Even expert can be wrong. Ask, challenge, verify, and trust your reasoning and instinct. Number 7, the lie of division. If we're busy fighting each other, we stop questioning the real issues. Now, many narratives are crafted not to inform, but to divide. Now, when people are busy arguing over identity, politics, or belief, they rarely unite to ask, who benefit from this conflict? Division weakens collective power. It creates enemies out of neighbors and friends. Unity doesn't mean everyone agrees. It means we have the courage to listen to each other and focus on truth instead of noise. Breaking free from division starts with refusing to be emotionally baited. Now, the key here is taking back your mind. Now, we all live in an age of endless noise, and the loudest voice often have the weakest truth. But here's the good news. The moment you choose to think critically, question deeply, and ground yourself in reality, their power over you weakens. The real awakening isn't about rejecting everything. It's about owning your perception. Truth isn't found in panic, it's found in clarity. Now, this series that's going to come up in this podcast isn't just about exposing lies. It's about reclaiming your mind, the most valuable territory you'll ever defend.